Welcome. Today our title is Turn On Your Light. The New Thought author and speaker Joel Goldsmith wrote, "The activity of God is like touching darkness. It does not do anything whatsoever to darkness. It does not heal it, correct it, change it, or remove it. It just reveals that there is none. The activity of God is like light touching darkness." Wow, those are some pretty inspirational words, ideas of looking at that light, that inner light within, the light of all life.
Did you ever open a refrigerator and notice that when the light comes on, you can see everything that's in there? And then when you close your refrigerator, it's all dark in there. But if you open the refrigerator again, everything's exactly where it was. The stuff didn't miraculously appear because there was light. The stuff was always there. There's a difference because there's either lightness or darkness. And if you walk into your bedroom and turn on the light, all the furniture is exactly where it was before, hopefully. And it's because the furniture is always there. It always has been there. There is no difference in the conditions of the room other than the fact that now you can see it and before you couldn't.
Yes, so, situations are changed only by how we look at them. And so when you go into a room, you turn on the light, suddenly you would call that light, you can see the things that are there, but if the light is off, the things are still the same. And so that is likened to the idea within our own mind. There is nothing that needs to be healed. There's nothing that needs to be changed. Life and you, as a part of life, are perfect, just the way that it is. You are perfect. Life is perfect. Just the way it is, you are. And that is sometimes a tough pill for some of us to swallow, the idea that we're perfect, because we live in a world where we quite often judge ourselves and we aren't looking at the light within ourselves as much as we're looking at how we would like to change. And so we can change ideas in the outer. We can change actions that we take. We can change words that we speak. But the inner light of life that you are born as is whole, complete, and perfect. And that awareness is significant.
It is said that language created loneliness to express the pain of being alone. It created the word solitude to express the glory of being alone. Being alone, being in the light, being in the dark, that has no specific meaning of itself other than the thought that we give it, the ideas that we attribute to it. Jesus told us not to judge according to appearances because there is a perfection at the center of things. This is what he meant when he said, "Be ye therefore perfect, as your Father in heaven is perfect." We know that the conditions in terms of manifestations of God as expressing itself in our environment are all perfect. We may judge them a little bit differently because of our preferences, but there is no difference in them. They are all just expressions of God showing up in form around us.
Yeah, I like what you were talking about the words. Words are frequently thought of as different. Last week, David and I did the talk of things that make you say, "Oh," and David wanted to say, "Oh," which we did, and I wanted to say, "Ooh," and for David, there was this significant difference between what those words meant within him. For me, I don't care if I say "ooh" or "oh" or "ah." They all are about the feeling within me, the light within me.
It's funny because when we were talking about it and I said, well, "oh" is more of an aha moment.
Yes, and they're all aha moments for me. And I think that those words you were just talking about, loneliness and solitude, are significant too, because if we claim to be lonely, that brings a certain connotation to our mindset and therefore our manner of living. And yet if we are expressing a sense of reveling in solitude, which we personally have done a lot this summer, and a lot of you have too, I know, then the idea of solitude being glory, the thrill of being alone and loving yourself enough to enjoy your time spent in pleasure, is really magnificent. There is a presence within you that is already perfect. It is your light, the light you came here to share with your world. And so let's look at a couple of ways that we share our light. Sometimes we need little boosts to help us share our light in a more magnificent way, either for ourselves to shift our own mindset or to help us in our relationships with others or situations we're experiencing in life. So David and I came up with these 3 ideas, and I'm sure you can add to it and build to it for yourself. The first one is spiritual practices.
I think that's a good place to start with just about anything, isn't it?
Yes.
Start with prayer, start with meditation, start with contemplation and looking at life from within and looking at the life within. When we look within, we realize that that's where the light starts. And we look around us as we create a light. We think if we look within, there seems to be within me. But I'm not talking about the physical sense. I'm talking about looking within our consciousness and recognizing the abundant light source that is within us, and recognizing that as our truth. And so when we do spiritual practices such as meditation or treatment or prayer, we are connecting with the universal nature of where we are, of who we actually are, and there is great light in that.
Yes, and spiritual practices are a mental awareness, becoming aware of that which you believe, that which you think about, and how to create it intentionally. So for me, quite often, spiritual practice doesn't even have to be a ritualistic idea or a certain way of praying or meditating. It can just be simply laying on the float out in the pool and just focusing my attention on that which is good and right and awesome and fabulous, and that is the light. That is a way that I really enjoy turning on the light. And I do consider that spiritual practice. Anything that mentally tunes us into the nature of God is a spiritual practice.
Another great opportunity to turn on your light is through giving. Now, we quite often think of that as a physical action. It's also a mental action, and because there's an awareness there that when you give something, it doesn't diminish who you are or what you have or anything about your existence. When you give something, you are recognizing the oneness between you and that other that you are giving to, and you're creating a relationship, a bond. And so there's a kind of an awareness in that is a bright light that shines. Your light doesn't seem to dim because you took something of yours and gave it to somebody else. In fact, sometimes your light seems to brighten a little bit because you feel this sense of elation, of illumination as you give to others.
Yes, I can remember the first time that I came home from teaching that day, and David had done the grocery shopping, and he said, "Oh, I was so excited today as I picked this up off the shelf because I knew you'd be so happy when you saw that we had some." I don't remember what the item was. I just remember his joy at giving something to me, and that joy is the light, that light within that shines. And we give in lots of different ways. We take physical action in quite a few ways. So as we look at how we do that in the world, we might be showing up as a volunteer at a food bank or for our local church or any nonprofit that we are giving to. We also might be giving to neighbors. Maybe we have neighbors or friends who are experiencing hard times, and so we're giving to them. Maybe we're cooking for them, or we're giving them financial substance to sustain them, paying their rent or buying their children food. So it can be any ways like that out in the world that help us to reveal our own light within, because let's face it, when we do something like that, when we're a part of a group that is giving, it feels good. It feels really good. And it's also a personal task. That action of giving is a personal task in relationships, like I just explained David did to me. Sometimes it's as simple as listening. Sometimes it's as simple as letting a friend cry on your shoulder, being there for them, allowing people that safe space to know that they are loved and that you are there for them. There may not be anything that you can actually physically do to make things change for them, but the giving action in many cases is listening and supporting people right where they are on their path. You don't have to agree with their choices, but that giving action of being there for people, if they're doing no harm to you or themselves or others, of course, always those ideas are in place. But those moments of feeling connected to one another because we are physically giving of our time, our energy, and our love are opportunities to really turn on our light.
Well, another way to turn on your light is simply through the action of gratitude or through the attitude of gratitude. Recognizing abundance in your life. You don't have to receive anything to be grateful. All you have to do is put yourself in that state of mind in which you recognize the abundance around you and the abundance that is in your life and the fullness that you are automatically. It's a mental, emotional recognition of all the good that is yours at every moment of your life. And so you don't have to actually receive anything because you already have it. You already are it. And so therefore gratitude is just an awareness, an awakening to that truth.
Yes. And gratitude is the act of being thankful. I often associate gratitude with appreciation. And so let's take a moment right now to take a breath. And to think appreciatively. Think appreciatively for your life right now. And regardless of outer circumstances, be appreciative for your physical body and your mind that is able to watch this video, your ears that are able to listen, your eyes that are able to look, your mouth that is able to speak. Appreciation for the many aspects of your physical being that are operating right now within you without you having to do anything. Your heart is beating, your lungs are breathing, your blood is pulsing through your body. Appreciation, gratitude. It doesn't have to be any humongous occurrence that happens. You don't have to receive a new car or a new boat. You don't have to win $1 million in the lottery to feel gratitude, to feel appreciation. There is so much for us to be grateful for.
The little things pile up, don't they?
They do. And the more you think about it, the more you experience it. We recently watched a movie that was called What Would You Do? And neither one of us can remember exactly what the movie was about, but there were words in the movie that spoke to us. And those words were one line that one person said, and it was, "We're all just one small adjustment away from a lifetime of happiness." That happiness is that inner light. And that inner light is your natural state of being, because there is only one light, one life, God life, perfect life. And that life is your life and my life right now.